There's more than half of the people in the country, are living paycheck to paycheck. So how do they get out of that? You're never going to be able to buy a house because you need a down payment to buy a house, and you're never going to get out of the rent trap. And so a rent to own program, may be a stepping stone out of that.
Thailand is an interesting place. I really don't know what really attracted you in the first place, but when you took me to Walmart, I think on the east side of Thailand, and I was really impressed because that was the cleanest Walmart in the entire North America. So I said, okay, it's a really neat town and people take pride in the cleanliness. Maybe it's not so bad.
Well, I discovered it quite by accident.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like a nice sized town and very neat and tidy. I was very impressed actually with how clean it was.
Until we started the RV park operations, then we found out Tyler is not all neat and tidy. Because people don't have a home, they're renting, and they want to live on the RV park because it's cheaper than renting an apartment or a house. They still have pets, right? Dogs, and the dogs can do damage to a rental property very easily, let alone the trailer. So, and also we kind of feel like there are small group of people in Thailand that are really trying hard to get ahead. And that's where we said, okay, if they're going to pay around $975 a month to rent a trailer, can we design something, rent to own program, to ask them to pay a little bit of down payment, and then we do the 30 months kind of term, and then they basically can pay the similar amount of money every month as the rent, but in the end of the 30 months, they can own the trailer. So what is in it for us?
The truth of the matter is, what is in it for us is actually to keep the park full. If we have people who are in a rent to own program, they have a vested interest in the unit. They had financial means that are somewhat lacking here. When I read the statistic here in the United States that 58% of the population has less than $1,000 in their bank account, that kind of was very shocking to me. I think it was probably very shocking to you as well.
Yes.
So, there's more than half of the people in the country, are living paycheck to paycheck. So how do they get out of that? You're never going to be able to buy a house because you need a down payment to buy a house. And you're never going to get out of the rent trap. And so a rent to own program, may be a stepping stone out of that. That at least after the way we designed our program was to be very short term. So we didn't want to have people in trailers, for more than 30 months. So we've designed our rent to own program to cover our very minimal lot rent and to get the trailer paid off as quick as possible. So that their rent is not just completely thrown away. Yes, these things depreciate, but at least they're going to have some equity in something, in 30 months time. So, because, unless they completely destroy the thing, it's still going to be worth something.
Yes. And meanwhile, they can have a home, right? That they can have an ownership, at least sense of ownership in it, so they don't completely destroy the RV when they're living there. So that's the kind of a program and incentive we think might get some good people. So far we have 6 RVs. One is on the rental to a very nice young couple, hardworking, very neat, very cautious about their spending, electricity and everything. So I think they are asking to convert to rent to own. And then there's another young gentleman. He works in a Thai shop, and he saved hard and started a rental 1 month. And then he said, can I convert to rent to own once I have some money saved up for the down payment? And we said, absolutely. So in February, he saved up $2,000.
Hmm.
He paid it twice, the 2 weeks, but we kind of credit the 1 month rental back to him, so he doesn't waste the first month, right?
Yeah.
So we really wanted to help people to get ahead, especially those hardworking people who try really hard to get ahead. But we also have some very unfortunate rent-to-own, the failed rent-to-own
Field
tenants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I guess the thing is we're not selfless people in the fact that everybody likes to help other people, or you'd like to believe everybody likes to help other people, but they're I've always said a good deal or a fair deal is where it's fair to both parties. So if you could put yourself in the seat of the person across from you, would you still feel that it's a fair deal?
Mm-hmm.
So we try to be very fair about these things, but the real benefit for us is that, like I say, first off, we get a long-term tenant that we get to screen. We get to pick the trailer. So and that is a critical thing as well, because we have an age limit on our park. There's a lot of parks that really turn into very unsightly situations, and I don't want that to happen to ours. I still want it to be affordable but decent. And so, all of the trailers that we have in there that we've purchased with our own money are 18 and newer. 18 is the oldest, and we even have a 2025, a very recent one. So we get to pick the trailer, we get to pick the tenant, we get to ensure we have a long-term tenant. So there's a lot of benefits there for us. We're not necessarily, if you factor in the interest, really making any more money on them than they would if people went to a bank and financed them and paid them out over time. But the downside risk for us is that when you're only taking maybe 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 down, trailers are very easy to damage. And so we just had a very anomalous ice storm. We had a gentleman who faltered on the second month in, and didn't pull the awning in during this very unusual ice storm for Texas. And if anybody has had that happen and bent all the arms and pistons and everything on an awning, you know that it's
over $1,000 damage.
It's $1,000 in damage. So the damage that can be done to these things, it can add up very quickly. And so when somebody leaves and they've left behind $100 electric bill, and they've left behind 2 empty 30-pound propane tanks and a completely decimated awning and a bunch of interior damage, the $2,000. My friend says to me, who's an RV wholesaler, he says, yeah, you got to do these rent to own things because you'll have people that'll give you money down, and you'll sell them again, and you'll make lots of money on them. Well, the $2,000 to me at this point in time, even though he had to forfeit it, is basically become a damage deposit, which is being essentially put back into the RV so that we can resell it. So otherwise, it needs a lot of work again.
Yeah. So I do still question whether we are charging too low of a down payment. So for the 2021 was Whitewood, the model at the front, lot 7, we're only asking for $2,500 down payment, and then the monthly payment is $600 paying towards a camper, and then $375 towards the RV lot rent, right? So basically, if the tenant can pay $2,500 down payment, then every month he or she needs to pay $975 a month plus metered electricity. Then within 30 months, he can own that beautiful trailer. So we take a lot of risk by doing that. And even the young gentleman who currently is on our rent to own program month 2, right? And he said he's been looking around all over the place, and by far we're the fairest.
Fairest deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we want to do, and just be fair. And when we try to help people, but again, not everybody wanted to be helped or can be helped. That's the unfortunate thing. When that gentleman who felt his rent-to-own collapsed, his rent-to-own program, I did ask him. I say, "Can we work with you? Say every week you pay $200," and unfortunately, he can't even do that. So I feel really bad for people who can't even come up with a rental payment.
Well, you have to have some desire to improve your life. If you don't change something, you're going to be in exactly the same situation in 2 or 3 years as you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what's the definition of insanity? I mean, keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So, all we can do is make the offer available. It's certainly not one that we're getting rich off of, that's for sure. But it can be very frustrating at times. And like I say, for me, what we're trying to do is just create, a steady park occupancy because we're in a very competitive environment in Tyler where there's maybe a few too many RV parks for the amount of business that's there. So, this is maybe a little bit of a competitive advantage for us. I mean, to keep the park relatively full, because running an RV park, I will tell you right now, I mean, if you don't have 50% occupancy, you're going to be losing money every month. The expenses are there. The property taxes, the insurance, the utilities are incredibly high. The electrical bill is, huge every month. We are on a municipal utility as well, so we have to pay for water and sanitary, and our water bill is astronomical as well, because you're basically consuming water and power at 50% occupancy for us for 10 tiny homes. And tiny homes don't have tiny consumption.
Also, among the 125,000, of course, I would think half of them are proud, house owners. So, and we're still looking at 60,000 people, and I think that it's absolutely possible for us to kind of, find these 6 perfect tenants that are hardworking, disciplined in managing their day-to-day life. So it's just a 6 out of 60,000. Is that possible?
Yeah, well, I certainly hope so.
Good.
And interestingly, I mean, a lot of people think that these are gouging programs, and they're not. I mean, I actually put the values, the total payments that they're going to make. So if anybody who has a mortgage or who's had a loan, believe it or not, I mean, they'll finance these RVs over a 15 or 20-year period. If anybody has ever added up the payments on one of those things, you end up paying triple the cost. So if the RV is, $30,000 new, and if you let it run over the term that they will allow you to finance it over, the payments are low. But you'll end up paying. It takes on the Never Never plan. I mean, it's
20, 30 years,
15
20.
or 20 years, and you'll end up paying like $70,000 or $80,000 for the unit. I mean, because it's all interest. It's like the same as a mortgage. A couple $100,000 mortgage on a house. I mean, you end up paying back over $500,000. So, we do a full disclosure. These are the payments that you're going to make. This is going to be the total cost. And by the way, here's the JD Power valuation of the trailer, and they're usually very much in line. So it's not like I'm asking people to pay double the value of these things. These are very fairly structured deals, and but I guess we have to find this small population of fair-minded people that want to do business with us, because it has had its frustrations too.